Hello, everyone, and welcome to Instant Biology by Dr. Nilab. Today, again, I am with you with a new episode, with a new video in which we are going to feature a student who is doing exceptionally well in her career, and she is currently pursuing her PhD in University of Sydney. We would be talking to her about what was her approach in applying to those universities, what can young students do in order to apply to universities in Australia and throughout the world, and how to approach to scientists, how to write an SOP, what should be your approach when you write a letter of motivation, how can you write a good CV. We would be talking all about it. Whatever queries that students have in mind when they apply to foreign universities, most of the students are susceptible when they apply to foreign universities, so we would be clearing all the doubts. Multiple students ask me so many questions about applying to abroad universities, so this particular session, this particular video would be addressing all the queries of those students who wish to pursue education abroad. Specifically, I have taken up videos, I have made videos from students who are studying in US, in Europe, and today I am bringing a student who is pursuing education in Australia. So without much ado, I would like to invite Srija to our platform. Srija, please could you come up and talk to us? Welcome, Srija. Thank you so much for joining us. In spite of your busy schedule, you took time and joined us on this platform. Really thankful from the complete team of Samadhan Life Sciences. Thank you so much.
First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Nila, for inviting me. Just trying to make sure if everything is properly audible and properly.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything seems to be perfect. It's
Yeah.
completely fine.
So right now I'm in Australia. So it's 3:30 right now in Australia. So good afternoon from my side. But in India, I know it's morning. So good
Yes.
morning as well. So yeah.
Okay.
So I am currently doing my PhD at University of Sydney.
Yes, Srija, first of all, I would like you to tell about yourself, because many students would like to know about your educational background before we go into the depths of studying abroad. How did you take that idea up? So, what was your educational background? Could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so I have done my bachelor's, which is Bachelor's of Pharmacy from Kolkata, Guru Nanak Institute of Pharmaceutical Science and Technology, which is affiliated with the McCourt University, which is a government university of West Bengal. And then after my bachelor's, I have finished my master's from Vanasthali Vidyapeeth, which is a residential women's university in Rajasthan. So I finished my master's during COVID. COVID, as in my submission of my master's thesis was on June 2020. So it was peak COVID at that time. So everybody was locked down. So we were unable to move out anywhere or do anything. So that is the reason I was planning to apply for my PhD immediately after my master's. But since it was COVID, I was locked down at home. So I was looking for other internship options during that time. For a period of 3 months, I did a online internship. Post that, I got a job opportunity while I was working as assistant professor in Adamas University in Kolkata for a little more than 2 years, 2 years and 3 months. And during my tenure, I was like simultaneously applying for PhD positions, and I got the PhD position here at University of Sydney.
Okay, great to know your rich academic background, and also hearing that you have a rich experience of teaching as well as an assistant professor. I would like to ask you that many students who pursue their masters in India, they also want to do their PhD in India only. I mean, what was your motivation behind doing your PhD or pursuing your PhD abroad? So, did you try for PhDs in India also, or your sole aim was to pursue a PhD from outside India?
No, so I was trying to do, and since I just mentioned, since it was COVID, I was very skeptical. My family, my parents were very skeptical that at this time, whether we will get, how long this period will go on, We were not sure about anything, what was the time, and so we were a little skeptical about it. That's why I was applying both in India as well as in abroad. But I would say that at that time, immediately after my masters, I did not got any response for 1 year from
Mhm.
any professors from abroad, because at that time borders were closed, so
Mhm.
nobody was even not even responding, so I didn't got any response.
Okay.
But after 1 year, I started getting little bit responses. Somewhere were like, okay, we have a vacancy, but we have to look for scholarships.
Mhm.
Someone will be like, okay, you can go ahead with the application process, let's see what happens after that. So after that, I started getting responses, but for 1 year there were absolutely no response. I would say that 2010 2021, I didn't got any response from any professor. But at that time, I was applying for universities in India as well to get my PhD. But I was mainly planning for doing a PhD from a government university, not a private one. So that was the reason I was preparing for exams to give
Mhm.
for the government university, to give the exams and then look for PhDs in India.
Right. So, during the teaching, as I have understood that during the teaching period in Adamas, you got this opportunity of coming to Australia and
Yeah,
doing your PhD. Am I correct?
yeah, yeah.
One more quick question is that many students, when they are looking for opportunities abroad, they prefer UK, they prefer USA. So, what was your idea behind choosing Australia, or you were applying to USA as well, and the opportunity you got was in Australia? Was it like that?
So to be very honest, I was not truly mainly looking into USA universities, because as per my research that I
Mhm.
was in which field I'm going to work, and also few references that I got from few of my professors, mainly the professors I found or I was targeting to work was mainly based on Canada, but not specifically USA. So
Mhm.
to be very honest, I didn't that much applied rigorously to US universities, but I did apply to Europe, Canada, UK, and Australia.
Okay. So just now you said that when you were applying, you saw that some professors were ready to take you, but there were some problems that were, I mean, regarding the fellowship, there were some
Fellowship.
problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to know what are the fellowships that you had applied to? Are there any specific fellowships that students can apply in Australia, or the scientists only have their projects and through that only they provide fellowship? What is the complete idea when you're applying to Australia?
Yeah, so here I would answer a little broadly, as the question previous was about the other countries as well. So the main motivation of why I chose Australia was because that I got a full government scholarship here, which has like a which can be considered as a say, you can consider it as a good badge with
Mhm.
you, that you have earned something. I'm not saying that the other scholarships that they were that the other universities or other countries were offering, they are not good. I'm not saying that, but definitely when you get a full government scholarship, that has a different value than some scholarships. They might be fully funded, but they can be like the university funded ones. So so to be honest, I didn't got a university funded scholarship in other countries, but I did got like I got a response from one of the professors who said that I have fellowship, and like my project has the funding, and through the project, the as long as the project goes on, you can work, you can get the funding. But for me, I got this option where I was getting a government scholarship in Australia, which is the research training program, the RTP, Australian Government Scholarship. So that has got a like you get more value to it. It adds up to your CV. That is the reason I chose it. And also the professor, the supervisor under whom I'm working here, her research interest was completely aligned with my research interest. So that is another criteria why I chose Australia. So it's not,
Okay.
I would say it's not country specific, but it was mainly I because of the government scholarship and the supervisor that I got. So it was not that I want to go to Australia. That's why I chose Australia. It's not. It was not like that.
Yeah, I have been to Australia, and the research environment there is great. I have been to University of Melbourne. It's
Yeah.
really nice. Yeah. So one more quick question that I have heard about the U.S. scholarships, Namaste India fellowships, the Erasmus Mundus fellowship that is basically for
Europe.
Europe, the DARD fellowship for Germany, basically.
Yeah.
Is there any particular fellowship that Australia is also famous about? I mean, is there any particular fellowship that students can apply to?
Yeah, that is
Or
that is the fellowship I got, which is the
okay,
RTP scholarship, which
okay,
is a international scholarship. Like they have two, domestic and international. We are applying for the international scholarship.
okay.
So it is RTP, which is called as Research Training Program, Australian Government Scholarship. So they give a full tuition fee waiver. They give you stipend. They give you the medical health insurance. They give you visa fare. They
Mm-hmm.
give you transport, to and fro transport. So it's all funded. So
Wow,
it's all
that
funded.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even there are some university scholarships as well, which
Mhm.
gives these kind of facilities. Visa might not be charged,
Included.
like might not be weaved off, but most
Mm.
of them they give. But yeah, those are like university scholarships, and this is a government scholarship. So there are two different varieties.
Okay. One quick question: that are there specific number of fellowships that are being offered? Let us say that five fellowships from India, or two fellowships from India, and three fellowships
It's
from
very,
somewhere else. It's
yeah,
like that.
it is very difficult to say. I don't have like a official notice. I have never seen an official notice like that,
Okay.
which says, okay, this many scholarships apply. But
Mhm.
as you were mentioning that about the fellowship, there is another fellowship, which
Mhm.
is the Australian Award Fellowship. But unfortunately, those are all, I don't know why they have not kept India in that list, but India, for Indian students, they are not giving it. There are students from Bangladesh, from Sri
Mhm.
Lanka, all our neighboring countries, they can get
Mhm.
it, but India is not a participating country there.
Okay. So if one more question regarding fellowship only, if a student is not able to get the research and training fellowship, whatever you are getting, if
Mhm.
he or she is not able to get that, so what is the other process? Can he or she directly apply to a professor who is in complete alignment with the research proposal, research plan of his, and directly apply to him or her? Are there chances, or do the professors respond to such queries, and do they have projects as such from where they can give fellowships? Is there a possibility?
Yeah, so there is like a basic difference that I understood during my application process was that in Australia, you have to apply to the supervisors first. You have to reach out to the supervisor first. If and only if a supervisor agrees to take you, then only you can go ahead with the admission and also the scholarship process. But I think US is not the same. So that is one mistake that I made when I was doing an application process. Though I not did not target like many US universities, but I learned this afterwards that in US you directly go with the admission process, you directly go with the scholarship, you directly go with the department, and then the department aligns you with the professor depending on your like SOP and everything. But in Australia, this is not the case. In
Mhm.
Australia, you have to apply to the supervisor first. You have to email the supervisors. If they are willing to take you, then you go ahead with your application process, because during my application process I had to submit a reference from my current supervisor that she agreed to take me, and I have to submit that as a evidence that I have got an acceptance.
Okay, okay. So I would like to learn from you that what is the application process like? I mean, when can students expect the applications to start? How can they, is there a particular form that they fill for that? Or what are the documents that the fellowship people require? What is the application process like? Can you just explain that?
Yeah, just one more thing before going to this question, I would like to mention. This just came to my mind. There's one scholarship that has opened only specifically for Indian students.
Mm.
I think from last year, the Indian government has signed an agreement with the Australian government. So there's a scholarship called Maitri Scholarship,
Okay.
which is full funded. Same, it gives all the facilities that a RTP scholarship gives, but it is only for Indian students who are coming to Australia to do their PhD.
I mean,
So
for life
apart,
science students, is it particularly for the
yeah,
life
yeah.
science students?
No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Not specifically for life
Okay.
science, but it is like for PhD students. Anyone can
Okay.
apply.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Right.
it is a very new scholarship that has
Mhm.
opened right
Right.
now. When I was applying, it was not there, but from
Great.
last year, it was there.
Glad that you mentioned. Many students would be
Yeah,
keen to apply
yeah.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah, because RTP sometimes can get little tricky to get, because since it is the only government scholarship that, like University of Sydney does not have any departmental or university scholarship for pharmacy.
Mhm.
But there are, like in Monash University, Monash is also one of the best universities in
Mhm.
Australia. Monash University do have their like Monash graduate scholarship, which is a
Mhm.
university scholarship. They also offer RTP and also like the university scholarship. So it depends on
Okay.
university as well, which university is giving what. But RTP will be like for all the universities. It's all over Australia. It is,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Then the I would like to learn from you, what is the application process? I mean, how do you write cold mails directly to the
Yeah, I did.
professors?
Yeah,
It works,
absolutely.
right?
It does work. It does work. It might take time, but it does work. Sometimes it does work. Like to be very honest, when I started, I did not have any reference in
Mhm.
Australia.
Mhm.
I told you I got some reference in UK, in Canada, but
Mhm.
not in Australia. But unfortunately, there was a fellowship problem, and after COVID, things have changed a lot. So there was a
Mhm.
problem there, so I could not go there. But yeah, so for Australia, I just wrote cold mails. I started out writing cold emails. I used to search for professors. I used to look for papers, and
Mhm.
then take out the name of the professors from those paper and then email them. So
Right.
probably I emailed 10 professors and got answer from 3 or 4. But yeah,
Okay.
it does work.
Okay. So, is there a particular website of RTP where students can directly upload their documents? What is the process like? When does the process start? I would like to know a complete details
Yeah,
about that.
so the RTP scholarship, it's a government scholarship, and the government gives it to every university at different times. So every university will have a page for RTP that will show at what time their submission or deadline is opening, their submission for document or RTP is opening. I can share my screen and show you the RTP scholarship for the University of Sydney, like when is the deadline and when things are happening.
That
I
would be
can show
great.
you that.
That would
Yeah,
be great.
so just give me a moment. I'll just
Sure.
mm, yes. Yeah, is it visible?
It's not visible as of now, but yes, now it is visible. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the page for the RTP scholarship at the University of Sydney.
Okay. So, if I'm understanding it correctly, then for each university, the Australian government RTP scholarship is announced at a different date. Am I correct?
So it will be there already, it will be present in the website. So
Okay.
they will not announce the date, they will not change the date every time. They
Mhm.
will be there, it will be there. It might get updated sometimes, but usually it is there.
Okay. So it says over here it's open all year round.
Yeah,
Postgraduate research scholarship.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all year round open, but here is the understanding of getting a thing. So
Right.
this is what the say this is for research. So here in Australia, a
Mhm.
whole year is divided into 4 quarters. So research period 1 is quarter 1, then research period 2 is quarter 2, research period 3 is quarter 3, and research period 4 is quarter 4. So there are like it is divided into quarters, and that is how you see that research period 1 and 2 means it's up to July. And then so if you apply, say within 15th of September, you will receive an offer in November and you can start the next year. So it's like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
I understood that. So first of all, you'll have to visit this website and check out the details. And the submission also is through this website only, or is it something else?
No. So the submission is, I will share. Yeah. So if you see the submission deadlines, it is not mentioned here, I think. Yeah, so it's written the current student can apply as well. But if you are a prospective student and considered to get a RTP scholarship, as a part of your admission application, you have to say that I want to get this scholarship. So it's
Mhm.
not a separate, like after you do your admission process, then only there will be a portal that will open for you to apply for the scholarship. So you have to do the admission first, and then you
Okay.
get a portal from the
Mhm.
university saying that you want to apply for the RTP scholarship at
Mhm.
University of Sydney, and then you will have to supply your documents.
Okay, okay. So will the
Yeah.
process of application for someone who is applying to University of Sydney would be different from someone who is applying to University of Melbourne, or would it be the same thing?
So for I think I'm not too sure with this, but I think it will be mostly similar because the structure of application is similar, and you have to apply to a supervisor first. You have to agree with the supervisor first,
Mm.
and then you have to do the admission process. But is it that the university supply you the portal to apply your RTP documents? Is it same for all the universities? I'm not sure over that,
Okay.
but it is definitely you have to do the admission first and then
Mhm.
you get to apply for the scholarship.
Okay. So what are the documents that one needs to submit over here? I would just want to know that because students should be prepared with the documents before
Yeah.
the start date. So as you said, first thing first, that you have to take the permission from the supervisor whom you
Yeah.
want to work with. So that agreement should be there. Apart from that, what are the other documents that you have to submit?
So I'll just stop sharing here, and I would now share another. If you allow me, I can share
Yeah, sure.
another document where I like submitted all my documents and show you what are the what all
That would be
that
great.
I've submitted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just first explain. So it is basically your CV with
Mhm.
your, say, supporting documents. You're supporting your CV. Suppose, say, in my CV, the
Mhm.
time I was applying, I had 5 publications. So
Mhm.
just mentioning that I have 5 publication doesn't work. So you
Mhm.
have to like it is mentioned in the website that you have to provide verifiable documents. So you have to provide the DOI of your
Mhm.
publication. You have to provide the front page of your publication. At what like level your name is coming. You have to highlight your name. These are
Mhm.
the documents. This is the first thing. Then I have participated to different conferences. The
Mhm.
certificates of those conferences.
Mhm.
So these are all the documents. Then I had a I had published, like I have edited a book
Mhm.
before that. So the front page of the book was there. So these are all the documents. I would like to share my screen and show that.
Sure.
That I think is it visible?
Yeah. Yes, it is visible now.
Yeah. So
Can you zoom in a bit?
yeah, just a minute. Mm, yeah. So this is the template that they have provided. If you see, this is
Mhm.
from the scholarship office of the University of Sydney. So this is the RTP template
Mhm.
that they have provided to me.
Mhm.
So the first thing, so it everything was mentioned in the template. So
Mhm.
first was the professional experience.
Mhm.
So this is the professional experience that I have given.
Mhm.
Then I had a professional experience, as in I did a government funded fellowship internship at
Mhm.
LV Prasad Eye Institute in Hyderabad.
Mhm.
So that is another professional experience I have given. So
Mhm.
this is how the template looks like.
Okay. That is very
Then
self-explanatory. I mean, it's easy to understand that.
yeah, it's very self-explanatory. Like you can have to, like, one by one you have to add on the tables. The
Mhm.
list of the tables, the name of the tables will be given. You just have to
Mhm.
add and increase depending on how your
Yes.
CV is, and then you have to
Yes.
just submit.
Okay. So this has to be submitted online directly, isn't it?
Yeah, directly online.
Okay. One more quick question, Srija. Since you said that you had 6 publications when you were applying to this fellowship,
Yeah,
now many of the master's student in India do not get the exposure to do research. You might agree with me that
yeah.
most of the universities do not have that much of resources that they can allow students to do research. So For the students who do not have a publication, what are the chances to get, I mean, fellowship like you have got such a renowned or such a prestigious fellowship? What are the chances that these students who do not have any research experience can also get selected?
So, as per my understanding, you have to make your CV a little richer to apply for a fully funded fellowship, specifically for PhD. Um, so, in that case, for the students, even since I have done a teaching of 2 years, there
Mm,
are I also have students. They also ask me the same question. I
mhm,
always say them that if you do not have, like, if you don't get publications, you have not published anything yet, I would suggest that have 1 year of job experience somewhere relevant to your work. That is
mhm,
always I suggest them, because there's no harm, first of all.
mhm,
And second thing is, when you do a 1 year of job experience, you can add that as well to your CV as your experience. That counts as well. Just as, like, just that I understood this when I was applying while I was working. I could understand while I was applying that since I had a 2 years of job experience, in a lot of places I got the benefit, because that was one column where they were asking about professional experience,
mhm,
and you give it there, and they will have some credit to it. Like, they will give some credit to it.
mhm,
So that is something I always suggest to my students, that have work somewhere for 1 year, and
mhm.
then make your CV a little stronger and then apply.
Right. Got that. One more quick question is that, I mean, how much of an cultural challenge was it to move to Australia, since you have completed your education in India? How much of a cultural shock? It was very shocking to me when I visited. But how was it for you?
Uh, yeah, definitely. From the culture that we come from, definitely there is a lot of difference.
Mhm,
But I would say that, yeah, if you should know for what purpose you are coming. It
mhm,
might be little shocking, but the lab where I work in,
mhm,
I have a very friendly lab. My supervisor, my lab mates, they are very friendly. They are very cordial in that way. So I
mhm,
don't face any problem as such during my lab, because I
mhm,
enjoy working with them. Apart from that, you have to be a little bit self dependent. Like, you might not, what we see in India, that you might get a lot of people to help you or support
mhm.
you. It
Yes.
might not be the case here, because you have to, people are like more self oriented, and they are self independent. Like, they are
Mhm,
independent, they are like
mhm,
self sufficient to do their work. So you have to be little bit that. And also, you do not shy do not be shy to ask questions to people. And there are times when you might not be able to figure out
mhm,
things,
mhm.
and you might see, okay, I don't have anyone to ask. Whom should I go? Just go and ask someone. People
Mhm.
will be answering. So yeah, these are the two three things I think worked for me.
Yeah, and you explained it very nicely. That is the way to go about any new place. If you're visiting any new
Yeah.
place, that is the way to go
Even
about.
I would say, even like, I am from West Bengal. I have done most of my, like, I have spent till bachelor's in West Bengal. After that, I went to Rajasthan for my masters. That was also a little bit different in terms of culture. But that is, since in one country we may feel that, okay, but that is
Mhm.
also a cultural difference. So it's a
Yes.
different country. You have to accept that
Yes.
people are living differently, so you have to accept that. And there's
Okay.
no harm in doing that. You just have to accept it.
Of course, of course. You tend to grow every time you visit a
Every
new
time,
place.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
tend to grow. One more quick question is: was there any interview also, or was this totally based
So
upon the documents that you have submitted?
no, so there was an interview from my supervisor, that if she wants to take me or not.
Mhm.
But for the scholarship, there was no interview.
Okay,
So the
okay.
interview was done by my supervisor, that if she wants to take me, if she is okay to take me or not. That is something, yeah.
And could you just explain how should people or how should students prepare for interviews like this? What kind of questions do supervisors ask, or what do they expect from a MSc or a master's student? What techniques or technique-wise, how much, how tough is the interview, or what kind of questions do they ask?
Yeah. So for me, so here I would also add that with the interview with my supervisor,
Mhm,
she, from that point only, she said, okay, right. letter or write a cover letter or a proposal of what you want to submit.
Mhm.
So for me, the interview was mostly dependent on my master's research. And even if I had publications, she was asking me question based on the publications, like what was your contribution, which part do you contributed, how do you looked into the literature search and how you summarize them,
Mhm.
then what was your idea behind when you were working on this project, what was your idea of what do you see, like if you say if you have completed this project and if you have got this result, what is your perspective of thinking that okay, after 5 years this project, if we work on this project, we can might take the project somewhere, what is your idea on that? Mostly the questions were like that, based on the internship experience and the master's research experience that I had and on my publications, mostly
Okay.
on that. Yeah.
Okay. In general, in India, PhD takes around 5 years. Government scholarship is also 5 years. How
5
much
years.
time? How much time does a PhD, a normal PhD, take in Australia?
So that is one thing here. It is PhD is little shorter here, so it's 3.5 years.
Okay.
The scholarship that I have is for 3.5 years.
Okay.
You can get an extension of 6 months after that, so that is 4 years,
Mm.
but not more than that, not more than 4 years. So
Okay.
but ideally everybody wants to, like, since if you want to extend, you have to like justify why you want to extend and what went wrong, when, where, you have to justify.
Okay.
So that is the reason that people try to finish it within 3.5 and maximum till 4, not more than that, because after that the scholarship will end.
Okay. Yeah, right. So, people applying abroad face a lot of challenges. What was your biggest challenge when you were applying to Australia? What was the biggest challenge that you were facing?
The biggest challenge was that I didn't know anything how to start the application process. That was my biggest challenge.
Very, very, very nicely put. So most of the students, they hesitate to start. See, a student is sitting right in front of you who is admitting that she did not know anything from the very beginning. So you should not hesitate. You should directly apply because no one knows
Yeah,
from
no
the
one knows.
starting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So just
you are
just one
students.
thing. Can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, sure,
If
sure.
that is, yeah. Yeah. Yes, so that was my biggest challenge because I didn't know anything how to start and from where to start. So
Mhm,
from the first step was that I just started emailing. That's
mhm,
what I did, because I
mhm,
didn't know how to go around. And even if you see some websites in the universities abroad websites, they are
mhm.
not, sometimes they are not very like student like user friendly.
Yeah.
It's difficult to navigate within the website. Now I am used to it, but when I started, I was facing difficulty navigating within the website of the university, like from where is the scholarship, where are the scholarship options, where are the courses, how long they are, what is the tuition fees. It was difficult for me. So I could not understand anything. I just started emailing. That's what I did. So
So the
maybe for,
professors would have told you that yes, you can go
yeah,
about this way.
yes,
Yes. Right.
yeah. So sometimes they would just share a link. Okay, refer to this link or refer to this page. You might get a details. So I might not be getting the whole details in that page, but that page will have some contact number somewhere. You
Mhm,
just contact again, emailing, asking, okay, I was looking into this page and then I could not figure out this one. This doesn't make sense. Can you please
mhm,
clear out?
mhm.
So I just again emailing. So I started just by emailing. That was my
Yes.
first thing. And
Okay.
then slowly, I understood how to navigate through the university websites and then how to do the admission and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. So one quick question is that since you have got such a prestigious fellowship in such a nice university, I would like to ask you that many universities, they demand students for writing an SOP or a letter of motivation. You might have also written
Yeah.
SOP or a letter of motivation. What do you think should be a compelling SOP? How do you make your SOP or a letter of motivation stand out from all the other students? What do you think about it?
Okay. So, yes. So, SOP. So, as for when I was applying to Australia,
Hmm.
the letter of motivation that I submitted was mainly for my admission that goes to the university. and the research proposal that I submitted, that goes to university as well as to the scholarship team. So these were the main two documents that I submitted. One is the letter of motivation, and another is the research proposal. Two main documents.
Mhm.
So the letter of motivation was mainly, so when you are applying to a university, what I think is, firstly, within first paragraph, explain what is, like, why you are doing your PhD and why you are choosing your field, like how you are motivated to your field, how passionate you are towards your field. That is the first paragraph I explained. And then why you are choosing your university and why you are choosing the specific lab you are going to. So these three are the main criterias among which I divided my letter of motivation. Because it might be different for a master's student, but for a PhD student, it is completely research based. So it should be your motivation of how you are taking forward your research and why, how the university can promote that. So it should be revolving around that part.
Okay, correct. Right. One more thing that many students they do not take the letter of recommendations very seriously. So I would like to ask you how much impact does a letter of recommendation have on your application throughout?
Yeah, it does. It really does have impact. You have to like pay attention.
Mhm.
But for me, it was not very difficult to get a letter of recommendation. How I chose is, I chose my master's supervisor. He recommended me because he was someone who knew how like, he was someone who can guarantee on my how I'm going to do my research work, because he have seen me working. He has
Mhm.
supervised me during my masters. So
Mhm.
he was the one first person to recommend me. Then
Mhm.
second one was again the supervisor with whom I was working during my internship. So
Oh.
I would always say that do not like reach out to random people who
Mhm.
might not be knowing much about you and just requesting them that, please sir, please ma'am, give me a recommendation. I won't say that,
Mhm.
because that wouldn't help. The person who is recommending you should be knowing about you very nicely and can
Okay.
guarantee your expertise or your way of working. So
Okay.
they will they cross verifies that, okay, the
Mhm.
person who has given recommendation, okay, he or she is her supervisor or is her mentor, so he knows how she works, or
Mhm.
stuff like that. So my two of my referees were from my supervisor,
Mhm.
and another was one of my senior colleague with whom I was working at Adamas University, because I was also doing a kind of research work there. So he was a kind of mentoring me to his project that he was doing there. So that
Right.
is how I got the recommendation.
A general perspective with Indian students is that you should get a reference from a senior professor. Was that the condition with you also, or is it not necessary that you should always approach a senior professor only
Uh,
then you would be getting selected?
I don't think so. Personally,
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's good to have a senior professor,
Mhm.
but it's more important to reach out to someone who has like worked or supervised you for a long time. That's what I feel.
Right. Okay. So now, since you have applied to many countries, to Australia, to UK, you said, to Europe, you said. So,
Yeah.
what are the most important points that a student should keep in mind while filling the application forms of these universities? Could you just sum up everything?
Okay. So sum up as in, so I
What
would
are
say
the yeah
always, yeah,
yeah?
I
What
would
are the
say
important points?
always start with someone who start searching professors who are actually inclined to the kind of research that you are doing. So that is the first thing. You cannot reach out to someone who is, maybe say, I work on breast cancer, and if I
Mhm.
reach out to someone who is working on, say, diabetes, how
Mhm.
the person is going to reply back to me? He
Yeah.
will immediately, he wouldn't even reply back, because he will say, okay, this person doesn't know about me, what I'm doing. So
Yes.
it's just, so it's very important that whoever you are reaching out, or whoever you are like emailing, cold emailing you are doing, you
Mhm.
should know about that person whom you are emailing.
Okay.
And this is the first step that I follow, and till date I follow. Like, even if I have to reach out to some other professor saying, getting some, idea about what kind of work that I should do
Mhm.
here. My
Mhm.
supervisor guides me here, but still I follow that. Okay, writing an email does work.
Okay.
It's just that you have to be consistent. You have to follow up. Like maybe after 2 weeks, you just give a follow up, and then you might get a response. This is the first thing that I did, and after that, look for universities that have like a good ranking.
Yeah.
I followed few universities that have good ranking first, and
Mhm.
even if like ranking as in the kind of research there is done, like
Mhm.
there might be some universities which are doing good research in physics but
Mhm.
might not be in the area of chemistry. So
Yes.
check the ranking based on the kind of field you are applying: life
Okay.
sciences, microbiology, pharmaceuticals, pharmacology. So you
Mhm.
just take the ranking based on the field that you are working, and then
Yes.
apply to the university and then apply a scholarship.
Yes, this was the next question that I was about to ask, because there are so many universities. How does a student choose that which university to apply to? So you answered it very nicely that you should not blindly rely on the rankings, because a university might be good in physics but might not be that good in biology. So you should
Biology.
search that whatever your area of interest or your area of research is, whichever university is good in that area of research, you should apply to that university.
Yeah.
So this is the
Yes.
way that you should be choosing universities, and then in the university you should be choosing the supervisors, that which supervisor would be a
Yeah.
nice fit to your area of research. Correct.
Yeah.
So Srija, did you? I have heard that many universities would require some international, I mean, English speaking certificates, GRE, TOEFL. Did you also write these examinations, or is it not necessary?
No, I did wrote these examinations. I write these examinations. I wrote IELTS for
Mm.
Australia, because IELTS was something that is accepted both in UK and Australia.
Mhm.
TOEFL is mainly nowadays, like it's in like convertible. You apply
Okay.
IELTS, they convert
Mhm.
the score to TOEFL. If you
Mhm.
apply TOEFL, they
Mhm.
convert the score to IELTS. But at that
Mhm.
time, as per whatever I got to understand, that IELTS is more acceptable in UK, Australia, and these
Mhm.
areas, and TOEFL is morely for Canada and USA. That's why I applied for uh, IELTS. And also that university that I was targeting in Canada,
Mhm.
I have checked their web pages, and they said that if you have IELTS score, you can
Mhm.
convert it to TOEFL. So I just went for IELTS.
Srija, is it necessary that a student should definitely have this particular course? Because some students who I have interviewed before, they said that if you get a certificate from your university that your education has completely been done in English, then you can apply. So is that so? I mean, do you know someone who does not have this kind of a score, or does not have this kind of a certificate, and then also has admitted to Australian university? Is that possible?
I don't know that, because I think in Australia, in most of the universities, they say that they give a minimum marks of IELTS. They give a
Oh.
minimum marks for TOEFL. But I think whatever you mentioned, that is there in some universities, because when I was applying to
Mhm.
Europe, there were some universities. I have collected certificate from my school
Mhm.
saying that my whole education was done in English, and
Mhm.
from school to like from class 1 to class 12, and then
Mhm.
bachelor's and then master's, and then so all my education was done is English. I think Europe, I have applied, I have shown such certificates, but in Australia I don't think. I think they need a IELTS score.
Okay, right. So students might want to know what is your area of research, and how does it match with whatever you had studied or whatever you have researched in your masters. So what do you research on as of now, and what was your research area in your masters?
Okay, so I was doing my bee farm. So to be very honest, in bee farm, I didn't do a lot of research. I
Mhm.
just learned how to do a literature search.
Yeah.
So yeah, so B Pharm as in bachelor's in pharmacy. So that
Mhm.
was my background. And then after that, I did my master's with a specialization in pharmaceutics, which
Mhm.
is mainly formulation development.
Mhm.
So in case of formulation development, It's mainly where you develop formulation for a treatment of a specific disease. You target a specific disease and then you like develop the formulation for its treatment. So during my master's, I developed a nano formulation which was for prostate cancer. uh, like we were planning to get cell lines, like
Mhm.
buy cell lines from the national institutes, and then do a PC, develop a PC2 lab and work on cell lines.
Mhm.
But we didn't have that time because it was COVID. So I could develop the formulation, I could optimize it, but I did not do any in vitro or in vivo studies.
Okay.
Then yeah, so that was the thing. But then when I started working, I told you the my senior colleague, who was one of my mentors there, so he was working on breast cancer. So the kind of experience that I had from my masters, I
Mhm.
tried to develop formulations and develop work with him very closely to
Mhm.
like design a formulation for breast cancer. And during that time, I ended up writing a review paper on breast cancer for nano formulations on breast
Mhm.
cancer, and that got published. And with that, I wrote to the professor saying I am now currently working on developing formulations mainly for breast cancer. I do not have like any cell line experience, but I'm mainly targeting, the formulations are designed to target breast cancer, so I would like to extend that and work in the field of breast cancer. So that is how I extended my work till PhD.
Yes. In addition to that, I would also want to ask you that many students during their masters, they realize that the dissertation work or the work that they are doing in their dissertation, they do not have any interest in that. And if they want to do a PhD, they would not want to do anything related to whatever they are doing in their masters, because we tend to learn, right? Suppose I
Yeah.
am working on microbiology in my masters, but I do not, or I am not interested to work on microbiology in my PhD. So, is it possible, or do the professors, I mean, answer you when you write such emails that I have done my project in microbiology, but I want to join your lab who works or which works on ecology or something else? Is that possible?
So I would say that it's not impossible,
Mhm.
but immediately when you finish your master's, say you have done your microbiology work and
Mhm.
you don't know, okay, you end up working with microbiology and you have understood that, okay, I don't like it. But then what do you like? You have to figure out that as well. So I
Yes,
think uh, as per my understanding, I think if you end up working in microbiology lab and you do not like it, that's fine. Then I would say that have 1 year of research experience, join a lab and understand what is your research core research area. And then when you write to a professor, you can definitely say, okay, I in my masters I worked in this, but I tend of lose I thought I might be losing interest from here. I got more interest in this, so I have now figured out I want to work. Like, even when you're writing to a professor, you have to convince them that I can contribute to the kind of research that you are doing.
correct. Yes,
So that is
correct.
something I totally believe. And you have to know that if you don't like something, then what do you like, and where can you contribute?
Correct. So I would like to add over here to all students. See, the professors, they receive hundreds of emails every day. You have to stand out whenever you are applying to a professor, whenever you are writing to a professor, you need to stand out and you need to build a connection of what this you were doing. See, Srija just said that she was doing this in B Farm and she did that in MSc Masters, and then she wants to do this in PhD. So that makes a complete sense. Even if you do not like what you worked on in Masters, you can say that I did not like that, and for that reasons I changed my material, I changed my course, I changed my lab, and I started working on this, and then I am applying to your lab because your lab specializes in this kind of a work. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree. Yes.
Yes. One more question. I have interviewed many students who are working in Europe, who have worked in US. They say that in order to survive there, in order to have a good living standard, you have to work also. Apart from studying, apart from doing your PhD, you work also. So Is that the same? The living expenses or the living standards in Australia are also so high that you want to, if you want to live there, you have to work also?
So to be very honest, since I have a good scholarship,
Mhm,
I do not like it. No, I do work in library.
mhm,
Like there is in at University of Sydney there is a role for peers
mhm.
where only students apply and they get get the job to support peers who are students. So I like it's a role only for students. So I do work there, but even if I wouldn't have been working there, I would have survived with with the scholarship they provide. So
Okay.
so yeah, and but that doesn't make it like that doesn't say that Sydney is not a costly city. Sydney is definitely one of the most costliest city in the world. So there
Mhm.
are like students who really have to work to survive here. So yeah, that's true. But since I have a good scholarship, and the not only me, even the departmental scholarships or the university scholarships that people have, the scholarship stipend is decent. So you can survive with scholarship. You might not be working, but you still can survive.
Right. So I would like to know, what are your future aspirations? So what are your career aspirations? Do you want to go into industry? Do you want to stay in academia? Would you come back to India after your PhD? What is your plan?
So I definitely plan to do a postdoc
Mhm,
after my PhD. I would definitely like to do that.
mhm,
I want to work as a scientist, maybe in a research institute, or
mhm,
go back to academia. But I cannot say right now that whether I'll go back to India or not right
mhm.
now, because I definitely do a postdoc and then decide what to do.
Okay, yeah. So now coming to the final question, that what are your final advices or words of encouragement for students aspiring to pursue studies abroad?
Okay, so I would say that uh, if you have seen my LinkedIn page, I
Mhm,
always write there the first step is the most
mhm.
different thing, and that is what my father, my mother always tell me. If you have to take that first step to reach your destination. You
That is
might be
that is
failing.
when I got to contact you. That was the I would like to, I did not tell that how did I come in contact with Srija. So she wrote a good nice write up on what was the first step when she was applying to Australia. I was reading that and suddenly I thought that this is the problem with most of the students who are
Yeah.
trying to apply abroad. So let us directly connect with Srija and listen to her journey, that what she has been through after before reaching to Australia. So yes, Srija, please continue. I stopped you in the middle.
Yeah. So you have to be like you have to take that first step. You will have a lot of questions
Mhm,
in your mind, like how will I figure out? I don't know anyone there. How will I cope up with things there? But but I believe that if you're truly trying to do something, things will fall into place. You have to keep working for it, first thing. And
mhm,
second thing is you have to be very mindful and very cautious of what you are doing. Like
right.
working blindly doesn't help.
Mhm,
You have to be very mindful. Like even if you are applying to universities, there are, nowadays there are a lot of consultancies which are not very good.
mhm,
They
mhm,
will say that, okay, I will take this much amount of money and then
mhm,
I will give you an admission, you will get a scholarship.
mhm.
So that is not true. I would say that do your admission process by yourself. It
Right.
might be little difficult initially,
Mhm, mhm.
but you can like take the guidance of your teachers
Yeah.
and do the admission process by yourself instead of giving money to some unknown consultancy
Mhm,
and
mhm.
guaranteeing you that you will get an admission.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this
One
is
more
my suggestion.
last one question. Many students, they, I mean, fear that moving to US or moving to UK, first thing first, that you have to spend your money. Does the government or does the PI, or do you get any help for relocation charges, something like that? Do you get that? I mean, traveling to US is another a lakh rupees gone,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
Air
So
India flight back then costed around a lakh rupees to Melbourne, Sydney.
yeah, so I got a relocation allowance.
Okay.
My, like, the relocation as in the flight fare I got,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is something initially that you have to, not
Pay by
every time you
yourself.
might get. Yeah,
What
you
is the
have to.
visa process? I mean, is it difficult? Is it as difficult as a visa for US, or is it the same thing? I mean,
No,
you get it normally.
I have heard the visa process is in US is too difficult. I have
Yeah.
heard that,
Yeah.
but I didn't face that much difficulty in Australia. But one thing is that you cannot, everything is online. You cannot connect to people. So
Mhm.
there are cases where visa gets, like they get hugely delayed.
Mhm.
I have seen people who have joined with me and
Mhm.
applied for visa 1 year back, and they were waiting for their visa for 1 year.
Wow.
So that is a really, a daunting task for students, because a student who has applied, got the admission, and then applied for
Mhm.
a visa and
Mhm.
not getting the visa, and you don't know the reason why you are not getting the visa, that is a difficult task, I understand. But yeah, visa sometimes gets really tricky and gets really delayed. But
Mhm.
yeah, but
Is there any visa interview also for Australia?
no, no,
No
no.
visa interview, because I have recently visited the US. There is a
I
visa
think
interview
there is
for US.
interview. Yeah, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
they
yes.
interview for US. So you have to be very proactive for US, and the delays in visa are also one thing that you have to look forward to. Apart
Yeah,
from that, Australia, when I had applied, I got the visa on my email just in, I believe, 10 to 15 days. But as Srija is saying that it is taking a lot of time. If you want to apply, if you get the confirmation from your guide, you should be very proactive in
yeah,
applying for
yeah.
the visa.
I
Yes.
know people who have got visa on 10 days. I know
Hmm.
people, I myself has got in 46 days.
Oh,
And I also know people who have got in 8 months. So,
wow.
so, so there are situations,
Mhm.
and uh, and sometimes I have heard that, I don't know if it's official or like it's, if it's okay to be saying it, but this is my assumption, because the people who are, analyzing your visa,
Mhm.
suppose say a person who is applying in chemistry department, there is a, when you apply for your PhD visa, there's a
Mhm.
section in Australia where you have to write that
Mhm.
what kind of work you are going to go do there.
Okay.
Now, if you explain your whole research proposal, there would be
Mhm.
words like hazards, there will be words like toxicity, there will
Yes.
be words like cytotoxicity,
Mhm.
chemotoxic, neurotoxic. So there will
Yes.
be words like this for people who are working the field I am working in. And if you
Yes.
explain that, the visa officer who is analyzing the visa is
Mhm.
not an expert on that. So
Yes.
they will take time to,
Mhm.
verify all of those. Okay, so whatever
Yes.
you're going to do there is a safe thing and
Yes.
it's done. So that is
Yes.
how sometimes it gets delayed.
Okay, okay, understood that. Thank you so much, Rija. Now, before we end this interview, I would like to all of you to I would like to show you all one little thing. So this is our recent program that we have started. We have started a new program called as Udan. This is again a venture of Samadhan Life Sciences, in which we guide students that how they should be approaching to foreign universities, what they should be writing, what they should be writing in their SOPs, what they should be writing in their letter of motivation, how they should be framing their CV. And these are our services. But a general consultation in our Samadhan Life Sciences or Udan program is as cheap as rupees 299 for 45 minutes. So with this program, our sole aim is to make things easy for students who want to apply abroad, and to clear off things that they normally do not understand because of the intricacies of the, you see, the websites and the difficulties in gathering the information. So this is our new venture, Samadhan Life Sciences venture, Udan. If you are interested in getting information about any university, you want to apply to any one university, you can book a consultation that would be 45 minutes, and there are many experts that we have on a board, and who would be happy to guide you in a particular area of interest or in a particular university. You can get in touch with us on the email ID and the phone number that has been mentioned over here. So, and we would also write a small description in the description section of this video. You can get in touch with us with that. So with this, we would end up the interview. Srija, thank you so much for spending so much of time and explaining each and everything in so much of detail to our students. It was really, really nice interacting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you so much for inviting.
we would come up with another student next time, and we would again talk to him or her about his journey so that you can learn again. Thank you so much, and have a good day.